Welcome in, everybody. This is the Falcons Podcast. It is a sleepy, drizzly, rainy Monday after a bye week. It feels just kind of like, okay, everybody, get your coffee. Got my Lion coffee. Get your Lion coffee and get woken up and get ready to go. Been off, and then the thing is Falcons don't play again until next Monday. So it's like an extended bye week that we've got going on here. So looking forward to the Buffalo Bills coming in. The NFC South stood up and two teams beat some bad teams, and then the Cardiac Kids of Buccaneers keep on going. Want to get into a few things today. There are 5 biggest questions. I'm going to take some of yours too. I mean, we'll probably end up taking 5 more and probably asking more questions after those questions that are facing the Atlanta Falcons as they get off of their bye week with another 13 games to go, including the big one. Can they make the playoffs? We'll probably save that one for last as we move forward. Also, we've got our coffee, our Lion coffee giveaway. It's just, I think it's a 24-ounce bag, so £1.50, $35 value to our members. I've got that set up. That won't take long. If you're a member, there are 16 so far that joined up in September, so thanks to all of you. Got your names over here in a little digital fantasy draft thing. We'll just hit go. It'll randomize it, and we'll select who wins and who wins. You're going to email me, and I'm going to send you a bag of coffee courtesy of Lion Coffee and the Falcons Podcast. But first, hope I'm coming through okay. It says I'm having a little bit of trouble connecting to StreamYard, so hope I'm coming through okay on your end. Going to say hello to some folks who have come in nice and early, like Dontez Jackson. I really hope the Falcons come with a game plan. Bye week helps, that's for sure. Or does it? Is 15 days too much to get in their own heads on that? Austin, good morning. He says, Falcons at home. I think we stand a chance. Absolutely. The Bills just lost last night. Hopefully this gets into offense gets into a rhythm and AJ returns. And as Rusty says, Rusty and I are kind of on the same negative wavelength. I can't let all of my negative thoughts out or else you guys wouldn't watch. I got to be positive some of the time. But Rusty says, I can argue that Buffalo losing last night to New England actually motivates them to play us better. One of the worst things that could have happened to the Falcons was the Buffalo losing last night. See, I agree. They're going to have to refocus. You're going to get Buffalo's best shot, but that's okay. If the Falcons are going to be a playoff team, they need to take care of home turf, literally home turf, the plastic there on the field behind me. They need to take care of that on a Monday night. They're fully capable of doing that. They've got a chance to be a better team this year than they were last year. And they took a Super Bowl team, the Kansas City Chiefs, to the wire and arguably should have won that game when they weren't as far ahead in this process. What was that, week 3? Week 4? I don't remember for sure, but it was early. I thought it was week 3. Early in the process and not coming off a bye week, et cetera, et cetera. So all of those things. Let's see here. I want to get down to John. John, thank you. John's going to be in the hat. You see that little falcon on YouTube, it means he is a member. So thank you, John. He says, good morning, everybody. The Bills didn't look that good to me, or maybe New England is a pretty good team. It's probably both. I think the Bills probably didn't play their best, and I think New England is at 3-2. God, Lord, there's some bad football teams in the NFL right now. I looked at the records yesterday, the early slot games, including the game in London, which it ended up being a decent football game at least, but just bad football teams. There's 7 games, so 14 teams. It's almost half the league. Out of those 14 teams, there were 2 that had winning records that were playing in the early slots yesterday. 2 out of 14 that have winning. There's some bad football. And John follows up. He says, any updates on our IR players? Nothing yet. The only update I would have is that there was no update. I don't know that signifies wasn't a ton of practice last week anyway, but it worries me a little bit that they didn't officially open the practice windows on any of the players. That could happen this week. What you do, how that works with the IR players that are designated to return. You have a 17-man with Lenny Craig counting a 17-man practice squad. Those guys are essentially free agents. They can be plucked at any given time, signed to a 53 of another team. Then you've got a 53-man active roster. You've got players on the injured reserve with a designated return. I can designate that player. I can open a 21-day evaluation window, a practice window for those players, and see if I want to bring them into my active 53, bring them into practice, let them work as if they were active, but I have 21 days to make a decision. If they're not better than anybody that I've got on my 53, I can either put them back on IR or I can cut them. So they didn't open that 21-day practice window yet on any of the players. So that is the news. And one more follow-up from John, one of our Perch members, says, do you see Troy Anderson on the field and again in a Falcons uniform? That they haven't just released him, done some sort of injury settlement leads me to think that yes, he will at some point be back, but will he be back in any significant role? My answer to that is no, I don't see it. Again, I am a cynic, but what has he shown us to lead us to believe in the last 18, 19 games, 20 games that we can count on Troy Anderson to be on the field? Because he hasn't been on the field in the last 20 games in any kind of meaningful role. He brought him back, aggravated the injury, was gone again. Divine Diablo, whose place is he going to take? Again, you can use him in packages if he was 100% healthy. Caden Ellis and Divine Diablo aren't leaving the field. So Troy Anderson right now is a reserve or a chess piece that you can use in other situations. You can move Caden Ellis up to edge sometimes. They run that 3-3. I could have him at edge and run a 3-4 with the Diablo and those guys. But then I'm taking reps away from Walker, from Pierce. So no, I don't. And the thing is they didn't really act as if they were going to have him come back either. That's why they signed Divine Diablo. Want to hit Denver. Luke is happy. He's a Broncos fan. He says, victory Monday. Go Broncos. Good morning, boys. He's got the coffee emoji. You know what? I will drink to that. I'm going to take my first sip of my Lion coffee this morning. It's a little hot. That's one reason I don't take a big chug. I already got chastised for that last week. The first sip is a little bit hot. So I'll make up for it, JB. I promise. Appreciate you, Denver Luke. Thanks for being here. Curtis Case is also a member. Thanks for being a member and for the super chat, Curtis. He says, good morning, Scott and Nick. Hopefully the Bills still have their fumble issues when we play them. Right now, when you're a home team and you have aspirations for playoffs, what am I worried about? The Falcons. That's what I'm worried about. Oh, let's try this on for size. When the Falcons take the field against the Bills on Monday night, let's see how this fits. Tell me how you like this. The Buffalo Bills will be facing the NFL's #1 defense. They are right now in total yardage. They are ranked #1 after they've played 4 games. Most everybody else has played 5. So after 4+ weeks, 5 weeks going into tonight's game, they have the #1 defense in terms of yardage in the NFL. I like how that sounds. I like the sound of that. Their offense is top 10 also, but then they're also like 26th in scoring. So that is one of my big questions. Can they start turning yardage into points? It's a big issue. Can they start turning yardage into points is one of my big questions for this team. Because they have a top 10 yardage offense, but they're bottom 7, I believe, in total points. So the kicking game will help because they've left a bunch of points on the board in the kicking game and getting in the end zone. Better red zone execution. The communication that we saw last week against Washington will definitely help as well, so that they're not just coming up to the line with getting the play in at 15, getting to the line at 5, and snapping it at 0 if they snap it at all. That's going to help. I was watching a college game, I think, and it might have even been the end of the Florida game. And I noticed, DJ Lagway has been struggling. DJ Lagway is a #1 overall type of talent. He's been struggling this year as a sophomore. To get him going, I see him walking up to the line of scrimmage with 25 seconds left on the clock. Calm, surveying, making changes. He played a great game. So that type of stuff helps. Thank you, Curtis. Can they start turning yards into points is one of my big questions. The guy I don't have a question about is this guy, is Nick Kendall. Nick, how are you doing this morning, my friend?
I'm doing okay. Our stuff arrived, so hopefully I am doing.
Yay!
Yeah, you have a little bit of a lag on the sound, so hopefully it's just like catching up since I haven't used this equipment in 3 weeks now. But the house is in disarray, and man, it is really hard to unpack a house with a 21-month-old. Let me tell you, you can't set one thing down, crash, there it goes. So we're getting it done, but happy to be here. This is the bedroom right now. This is not where I'll be eventually, but the other two rooms do not have light fixtures in them. So I'd be really weird and in the dark if I was doing that. But hopefully my internet holds up here. We're on the Wi-Fi right now.
I made the mistake of letting it do the upload, the local recordings, and I need to stop that because mine is saying I've got like 1 dot of internet too, and I've got a 800 megabyte upload from fiber. So we're gonna make sure that we don't do local recordings. It'll sound great for you after the fact for you who listen on Spotify and iTunes. Want to get back to a couple people in the Michael Baxter is here. Let's see. Count Racula. Good morning, Scott. Good morning. Right back at you. Hope you are doing well. Atlanta Focus. Marcus Cook, one of our very first members, is here as also. Says, what a relaxing weekend it was with the Falcons on a bye. You know what's even better than that on a bye is getting the Thursday night game and a win. When you get the Thursday night game and you get a win, it's like bliss. You've already taken care of your business. You're not stressed. The Monday night games are a little stressful, Nick. Yeah. You know, you're worried about playing the whole time. You're watching everything that everybody else is doing. The Thursday night games with a win in your pocket is absolute bliss when it comes to watching football.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's even better when I would say Thursday night win and then your rivals lose. And I see the chat a little bit upset. Unfortunately, I was pretty bummed about it. We didn't have the Seattle Tampa Bay game on here in Denver. We had the Commanders Chargers, so it was a double Fox week, I guess, rather than CBS. But man, what a game that was! And unfortunately, Tampa Bay looks like they absolutely nailed another draft. Emeka Egbuka looks like a superstar, and Jacob Parrish so far has been the best defensive back out of the last draft. So yeah, it's that week 1 game. It's unfortunate because you guys were not where you're going right now, but it counts just the same. So gonna have to take care of business later and just keep stacking wins. But Tampa Bay does look formidable. And what did they go? They lost 1 game while Tristan Wirfs was out. The best, and for my money, the best tackle in football. So chasing right now, chasing.
They're 4-1 and 4 plays away from being 0-5.
Yeah,
they are. I mean, they're the epitome of what the NFL wants. They want every game close. They want every team close. They want every team hovering around 500, and every team has a chance at the playoffs. Yeah, I like good football, and they are exciting to watch. That's for sure. Trenton, thank you for being a member, my friend. He says last night is not the same Buffalo team you'll play next week. Good teams are 0-0 every week. No, it's not, but the back-to-back road games do play on them a little bit, and I'm not convinced New England's in it for the long haul. They're 3-2 right now, but I don't know that they're going to be a long-term threat. And I know the Jets and the Dolphins aren't. So, are we going to get the full focus, or are we going to get the Kansas City Chiefs? We'll just kind of cruise through the regular season until we get to the playoffs, and then we ramp it up. The Falcons definitely have more to play for. It's Monday Night Football, coming off a bye. They're fighting for relevancy in the NFL. They definitely have more to play for. And I would imagine it's a small line, like 2.5, somewhere in that neighborhood. Let me see what it is off the top, what ESPN Bet has real quick. But my guess is it would be a really small line. It's not even set yet for some reason. Everybody else is. That one is not. I would say it would probably be Bills by 2.5 would be my guess.
I'll go 3.5. Just the Josh Allen factor. And I think with the Bills coming off of a loss like they did, makes it a little bit, I don't know, spicier for that one. But yeah, stopping the run really helped New England last night. That's key. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if that's how this Falcons team is built currently, but you one game, anything can happen, and it can be schemed up for a game as well. So we will see. Mike Harvey coming in here, $4.99, says the Bills are a Super Bowl caliber team. We don't beat them without help, and they are better coached. All it takes is one game. I'm going to be, Scott, I'm always not too high, not too low. I'm going to be a little bit of stick in the mud probably on the Broncos game. I need to hold back on that because they just had the big win in Philly. But, anything can happen in a singular game. I think back to, must have been 2016. The the Packers were like 13-0, 11-0, and they went into Arrowhead, who the Chiefs had one win or something, and the Chiefs spanked them. So anything can happen any given week. If it's good teams, you see them show up week after week and get those. So you never know.
They win the small margins. They win the small margins. And, without help, we'll see. If the Falcons play their game, they're capable of beating anybody. They got a top 10 defense. They got a top 10 offense. They're certainly capable of doing it. Now, have they played like a top 10 offense? No, they haven't. But we know that they're moving the ball. Now it's okay. Let's take the next step. Let's do that. Let's take the next step. Are they going to score 19 points on average for the rest of the season? I don't think so. And in order to get the number up to 24, they need some 28s, they need some 30s, they need some 31s, they need some 34s in there. So are they better coached? Probably. Probably right now. It's Raheem Morris' second year with the Falcons, and McDermott's been up there for a while. So, is their quarterback better right now? Yeah, probably. There's no shame in saying that. But do the Falcons have more weapons on offense? Yeah, they do. I'm looking last night. It almost looks to me, Nick, like when we were 4 years ago, we were talking about the Packers. It's almost like let's stack the defense and then let Aaron Rodgers do his thing. I look at the offense right now on the Buffalo Bills. I'm like, dude, where are your weapons? Your running backs, they're good, but they're running backs. Your receiving weapons, is Shakir really a number one? Joshua Palmer, Curtis Samuel, your number one last night was the tight end Dalton Kincaid with 6 catches. There's nobody, Keon Coleman's got some potential, but this is not going to be the most talented group of wide receivers the Falcons will face all year. That's for sure.
No, I mean, they really are more auxiliary, the Bills, as far as how they lean their weaponry. It's through the tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, a lot of it, and the offensive line and run game. And as we saw, as somebody correctly pointed out, unfortunately for my fantasy team, they bottled up James Cook, and that made a big difference. But this, honestly, Scott, I would say it's a little bit more of they've really stacked up on the offensive line more than the defense. And that's an area where the Bills, credit to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots, man, going in there and doing what they did to stop them. But that Bills team has been able to lean on almost every single team they've gone against, and then just let Josh Allen be a superstar. It's a little bit more of the Tom Brady mode, like every single year. Then they had the top 10 defense too, but it was always like 5 offensive line with Scaramucci. I can't remember the offensive line coach for the Patriots all those years. Very Italian name. I mean, should be in the Hall of Fame. One of the best offensive line coaches ever.
Let me see here. Last week, the defensive rookie of the month was the forgotten man, was Xavier Watts, who was part of the James Pierce trade, and evidently me making a snarky comment about that resonated with a lot of people on X because it got something like 150,000 views and a couple thousand likes when I said, oh yeah, I forgot. This guy was part of the Pierce trade. I only read national media, so I forgot. They never mentioned him. Yeah, it's one of my other big questions as part of this defense is, can Pierce and Walker continue to develop? Pierce, there's some advanced metric out there that says like per play, he's like leading the league in splash plays and pressures and quarterback hurries and stuff like that. It hasn't turned into production yet. He's got half a sack and 2 tackles. If I'm looking at if I'm a hater looking at his box score, I'm like, this is a bust. But watching him go out there, we see him affecting the game, even if he's not getting home yet. Can they change those pressures into sacks moving down the line, which sacks would then turn into turnovers as they move? So that is also one of my biggest questions, Nick. I like what I've seen. Pierce flashed early in camp. Walker is starting to come on.
Yep. Yeah, both of them. I mean, Pierce is the guy right now. You and I, Scott, are both scout eyes at heart, and we'll look at the box score before we get into a game sometimes when we're reviewing. But eyes on the line. The eye, as they say, the eye in the sky doesn't lie, and Pierce flashes a lot. Walker's starting to get there too, but it's not the same body contortion, I guess, that you kind of get from Pierce, where it's like, oh man, this guy's bendy and fluid. Walker's got a little bit more pop to his game. So they're both, good players, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Again, I keep coming back to the same thing, talking about Pierce and everything. It's like, man, I wish we had a Alfred Collins type, or just to get like the best one in the league, but like Vita Vea, right? Like just that nose tackle that could really free those guys up, push the pocket. Because right now you see Pierce and Walker, and they're able to get pressure, but there's sometimes room for those quarterbacks to get up. And to credit to Dorless, he's coming through a lot, but it'd be nice on those earlier downs to have a 330-pound behemoth eaten up.
Who called the Broncos game last night? Because I watched, or yesterday afternoon.
It was Romo and Nance.
Okay, so it was probably Romo, because he highlighted a drop step where Nick's backed it 10 yards. He's like, you don't want to hit that line. And the outside rushers got to him. He says, but it makes it hard to step up because these guys are crushing the front side of the pocket too. That's a little bit what you're missing. They make up for it by trying to get penetration. But yes, the ability for Josh Allen scrambling makes you a little nervous.
And you have to, with Josh Allen, you have to have, it's a bodies approach. A lot of times the first guy that gets there doesn't get it done. It needs to be, like zombies hunting. If one grabs the guy, then it needs to be the horde arrives as well. Saw that with Josh Allen. See it a little bit with Drake May as well. Oh, man, God, he looked pretty good last night, Scott. But you guys in the NFC with your lack of quarterbacks. I think the NFC might be better, but these young quarterbacks across the AFC are ridiculous. We'll see how Penix and Daniels continue to do it. And we got Primordial
Reflection says Buffalo hasn't won anything and consistently lose in the playoffs. Unfortunately, this isn't a playoff game, and what they have or haven't won doesn't matter. They're really good in the regular season, and they're coming off a loss, and the Falcons are underdogs for a reason. I would probably set it at 3.5, and this is a game I would stay well away from. NFL, I think, is, for the most part, I can usually pick one game that looks kind of odd to me. Of course, I would have lost the house on Texas, Florida. I would have bet my house on Texas, and I would have lost my house this weekend. Thank goodness for Steve Sarkisian, one of the worst people in sports, is now out of the top 25 and he's multi-bazillionaire. So what does he really care? But nothing against Longhorns fans. Love you. I like Texas. I like Austin. I don't like Steve Sarkisian. And that goes back a long time. Let's see here. Okay, couple of the questions we wanted to get into as far as the Falcons defense. And number 2 on here I had was Pearson Walker continue to develop. We talked a little bit about that. Number 3 on here, can Bijan Robinson, can he continue his torrid pace? So I'm looking at Sports Illustrated did a preseason, or did a quarter of the way all-pro team, and they didn't have Bijan Robinson on it. And I look at the stats. Jonathan Taylor's good, of course.
Yeah.
I think they had Etienne as the next one. I was like, oh, that's cute. Both of those guys. Bijan's got 150 more yards from scrimmage than both of them, and is the NFC Offensive Player of the Month. So he's like at 600 yards right now, Nick, from scrimmage. What's that come out if I divide 17 by 4 and then multiply again by 17? I mean, I think he's at 570. 570 divided by 4 times 17. Not 7 times 17. He's on pace for almost 2,500 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah, he's having an unbelievable season. I do worry about. At some point you worry about overusage, but he's a top 10 pick at running back. I would like to maybe see a little bit more Algier, but yeah, Bijan's having an incredible season, and I think that's pretty laughable to not have him in the first team. Jonathan Taylor does deserve it as well, but after that, it's Bijan without a doubt. So yeah, he's having an unbelievable year. He's a special player, and I think Michael Penix should be, treating him out for a steak dinner or something every single week, because God, he makes his job a whole heck of a lot easier. You can be wrong, or you can be safe, and you can be right. The ability to have a high probability, low risk play lead to successful plays, let alone explosive plays at the rate of Bijan Robinson, both in the run and the pass game, it's the basis of the offense. It's what we talked about last season, Scott, when you guys drafted Penix and you had Kirk Cousins coming off injury. It's like, well, you know what? Like, no matter what, at least you have this to rely on every single week. And with that, what was it, week 1? It didn't have, you didn't really have it. we saw the offense, be the panic show when he needed it. But overall, it should be the run game and Bijan Robinson with Sam Algier getting sprinkled in.
Touches go. We don't want more touches. I'm happy with his touches. I want more efficient touches. I want him to get more from the same amount of touches. And right now that is happening. That is absolutely happening. More explosive plays, because he is averaging 20 touches a game right now. That's a good number for a number one back. I want him to get 20. I want Algier to get 10. It's somewhere in that neighborhood, and mix and match at balance. But if you come out with that at the end of the year where he's got 340 touches, because last year he had 304 attempts and he had for receptions 61. So he had 365. So there you go, Nick, through 4 games. And part of that is one game can skew a lot. So he had that one low touch game against the Panthers for some reason. That skews the numbers a little bit. So he's probably been 23, 24, but that's on the same pace as last year. And right now he's actually a little bit below the pace, but he is getting more from less touches, which is exactly what we were hoping for coming into this season. Otherwise, you're going to run him into the ground.
Yeah, I would love to see a little bit more of the Kyle Shanahan, Christian McCaffrey usage as well with him, where he is isolated in space in the pass game, even more than we're seeing, especially with the question marks the Falcons have at the depth of their wide receiver room. But you also want to protect him at the same time. So, and I don't think Algier is the same wide receiver route runner that McCaffrey is when he's healthy as well. So I don't think
he's as good a receiver as Bijan is, so it changes a little bit out of there as for third down backs, that type of stuff. But we love having Tyler. And Harry says, do we think Tyler Algier gets traded? I don't. I've said that from the very beginning, just because for him to get traded in the next month, the Falcons would basically have to go 0-4. And they're in sell mode. I don't think the Falcons are going to go 0-4. If they're anywhere sniffing the playoffs, which they should be, I mean, even if they go 1-3, they're sitting there at 3-5, and the schedule eases up. They were 6-3 last year and missed the playoffs. They could believe that they're 3-5 and could make the playoffs. So I don't see any way that they're completely out of the playoff chase come the trading deadline. And that is the only way you would trade Tyler Algier, because he's too valuable to you for what you would get back for him, which would be a day 3 pick to a contending team. I said that before the draft, and I will keep saying it, that he's more valuable to you and your team right now than what you would get in return, which means it makes it for a bad trade.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's always the right price, right at the end of the day. Like if somebody comes and offers a 3rd-round pick,
weren't the Chiefs the one that didn't have a running back by the end of last year? Wouldn't the Chiefs have loved to have? They would have given up a 3rd to have Tyler done for the stretch run for sure.
Yep. I wish the trade deadline was a couple weeks later, just because I'd rather have the dust settle a little bit more. I understand why they do it, because you don't want just teams like, absolutely fire sale, but I just like a little bit more information on these teams. And I don't know how long you were before I got here, Scott, but you guys do have, now that dust is starting to settle, we're starting to get a sample size and who these teams are. Your upcoming 4-game stretches, I mean, it probably will define the season for you guys, because the next 4 games are excruciatingly tough. You obviously have the Bills on Monday night at home, thank God, but then you go play the 49ers, who I'm not sure what to make of the 49ers, but they're good. Like they're good.
They're good, especially on the road.
Yep. Then you have 2 of the biggest surprises in the AFC this season in the Patriots. And
you're
Scott,
missing one of them, though. The Dolphins are sandwiched in there.
The Dolphins are the
so
one.
You need you need to beat the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, and then you win one of those other 3 games, and you're 2-2.
You need to
survive it.
Yep.
So at Patriots, Falcons can beat the Patriots. I'm not sure how good they are. Yes, they just beat the Bills, I know, but did they get the Bills the shot? We don't know.
Yeah.
Again, sample size.
Yep.
They need to come out of this stretch at least 2-2, and then you're hosting the Colts, hosting the Panthers, at Saints, at Jets, and then Seahawks, Buccaneers are tough. At Cardinals could be a win. Rams are tough. And then Saints at the end of the season, they're going away.
This
they got to win, but the Saints are. I saw Saints fans, tongue in cheek, saying, "Hey, I just didn't want to go 0-17," and so and again, it's nothing against Saints fans. They know, this team is their team this year is bad, and they're looking forward to the number 1 pick next year.
Rattlers might be better than number 1 pick. He's actually
liked Rattler.
He
needed some. We liked his he had some serious character concerns, but I think those cleared up at South Carolina. He was humbled at Oklahoma. I mean, he was a grade A-hole at Oklahoma, and he got humbled and turned into, they absolutely love him at South Carolina.
Yeah.
And he was wild.
I mean, he was hit like 30% or 40% of his dropbacks, like some number that's just unbelievable. But for a 5th-round pick, he's playing, I mean, right now, if there was a redraft like JJ McCarthy or Rattler, I mean, we've seen more from Rattler in the dropback game. And the other part, so it's the next 5-game sample. I mean, it's really going to determine your season. If you can go 3-2, stay above water, you got a chance. If you go 1-4, but we talked about, you have the Dolphins game in there. You're right. Sandwich in Bills, 49ers, Dolphins, at Patriots. And I'm going to correct you, Scott. It's at Indy. It's not at Falcons.
Oh, we're both wrong.
Maybe.
We're both wrong. It's in Germany.
We are. Oh, it's international.
Yeah, that's the international game. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah. We're both wrong. Yeah. That's the Germany game.
There we go.
And Shane Steichen, I still believe in Shane Steichen. I have zero belief in Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but Daniel Jones is playing MVP caliber.
That's what I mean.
Right?
Daniel Jones is having his Sam Darnold season. He's going to get a huge contract. They'll probably sign him to some decent money and want to keep him for a couple years. And Anthony Richardson just really was that bad.
He'll go the Taysom Hill route
in his season to get started. He needed the Jordan Love treatment probably. And I don't know that he would ever be Jordan Love. He's just too erratic as a thrower. But Daniel Jones is playing really well because Shane Steichen, Daniel Jones was a top 6 pick. I mean, he's got some talent. Yeah. Made a couple $100 million in this league already, somewhere in that neighborhood. But Shane Steichen's a good football coach. I still believe that.
Yeah. And Tyler Warren, I'd have to go through the rookies right now, but he's having as good of a rookie tight end season. I mean, they're dialing it up for him. They're doing everything they can to get him the ball, and he is killing it right now. Bears taking Loveland before him. Not looking the best right now, but it's early. It's early. We're not writing any of these guys' careers yet. But back to we're it's bye week, right? We're kind of meandering to the left and to the right. But Bijan, he's right now. I would not put him, Scott, as my offensive player of the year. I probably would lead Jonathan Taylor. Heck, maybe it's Igbuka or something. I mean, he's been unbelievable. But Bijan's right in the
he's in the mix again. Yeah. He's definitely in the mix. Here, let me. We're at the 30-minute mark, and we got a lot of people watching. And I want to say this is going to be our quick giveaway. I'm going to just. This is how I have this set up. This is a fantasy draft lottery. I set it up. These are our members through when we started membership last month. And as I said, the Perch members, we're going to get 3. It's a weighted lottery. Are going to get 3 hats and the 3 balls in the hat. And then the Nest members, we're going to get 1. However, Marcus Cook and Brian Anthony were our very first members. So I gave them a bonus ball. You guys jumped in first. So when you see 2 next to there, Marcus and Brian were our very first members. Ryan was our first. These are sorted by they're sorted by tier, and then they're sorted by chronology. So our very first Perch member was Ryan Thompson. Our very first members were Marcus and Brian Anthony. So thank you very much on this. We absolutely are going to be doing more of these. We'll be doing more to make sure that you get your value for being a member, other than just supporting us. That means a lot to us, but I want to give you some extra value for your dollar. But I hit this button, I hit generate order, and it covers them up. And I'm going to go up from 16 up to 1. So Dirty Bird Star is out. Chris Tyler is out. Curtis Case, Pamela Johnson, Marcus Cook, Brian Anthony. There's Brian Anthony out already. So Tentago, a couple of our Perch members out already. Oblivion Empire, Jerry, John Harrell. I'm not even sure who's left, but there's 6 of you. If you haven't seen your name yet, you're still in it. Trenton, Caleb G, German ATL fan, anonymous reviewer, Ryan Thompson, and finally, the winner is John Brothers. So, John, make sure, let me put my email address up here. And yes, y'all can contact me this way, but don't abuse it. I've got it here. Is my email address. Just change up my name. I went to Auburn and all my redneck buddies just called me Skinnity. Hey, Skinnity. So, and it's a lot easier to get than S. Kennedy. That's usually gone. In fact, I've got like 4 S. Kennedys in my own household. So email me, send me your address, and I will send you a bag of coffee, courtesy of Lion Coffee and the Falcons podcast. So thanks to all of you for being members, and we'll be doing more stuff like this and having a lot of fun. So again, thanks to all of you. John, email me. I can't contact you directly through your membership, so you need to contact me, and we'll take care of that. Getting back to our questions on here. And we've hit a couple of these. Can Michael Penix start converting some of these yards into touchdowns? I think Penix only has a couple of touchdown passes, maybe 3 through 4 games. We want to see him up in the 30 range. And to do that, he's going to start needing 2 a game to get there. Can he get there up to 25? Can he break his less than 1 per game streak that he's on right now and getting the Falcons offense to score?
I think he can. I will say, and this might be me, again, as you always say, Scott, everybody's biased. It's just, to what lens you have. I don't think it's as much a Penix question or problem as it is a Zach Robinson design.
That's all. It's all together. I 100% agree.
Sean Payton pilled at this point, because like Bo Nix, like I see these stats come up. It's like, oh, Bo Nix, like the most touchdown passes through 20 starts with some of the best quarterbacks you ever heard in their life. And I'm like, I've seen a lot of these touchdown passes, and I know that he still deserves credit for them, but these guys are wide freaking open. So I've become even offensive design pilled for red zone offense specifically. Now you have to execute, you can't have the penalties at the end of the day, but as many wide open, just throw the ball within the vicinity touchdowns I've seen. I'm not worried about Penix as much as I am. Does Zach Robinson have the creativity when you need it? You got to have it. Bag of plays. Sean Payton talks after all the games that he has 4 or 5 plays every game that he knows are winners that he can get to, and a lot of them are red zone ones. Again, Scott, you cannot get more open than some of these plays are, and I don't see that. It feels just harder in the red zone. So again,
you know what I think? What I think helps with that, Nick? Little play action.
Yeah,
some motion down there.
You know what you have to do to play a lot of play action, though?
Run.
Under center quarterback play.
Yeah. You got to run the ball, too. Yeah, that's part of it for sure. But the motion, the crossing routes, the play action, they basically, as Harry says, and we agree, I think a lot of it falls on the OC. Yes, they've got to get better in the red zone. It's not – they haven't been in the red zone enough for us to say, oh, yeah, here comes the penalty. It's like, oh, first and 10 from the 15. Here comes the penalty. First and 20 from the 25. Here comes the fumble, the interception. That hasn't been as big an issue as it was under Arthur Smith and his merry band of quarterbacks. But got to get down there. And again, what also will help is, hey, kick. The field goals are going to help with the points too. But yes, we expect Michael Penix to throw for more touchdowns than he's at right now. And the big question, we went through these, we started just off the hoof kind of naming win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. I'm going to do that. And then let's ask the question, will the Falcons make the playoffs this year? So let's be semi-conservative, but not overly one way or the other. Let's say the next 4 games, they split 2-2.
Can I get the 5th game in there too? What are they then? Are they 3-2 or 2-3?
They're 2-2. So they'd be 4-4 going into the Colts, Panthers, Saints. They should come out of that game at least. How many games is that then? 10? I need to look at it with a week number next to them. They can come out of that mess 6-4. They come out of it 6-4. Then they get to the Jets, 7-4, 6-5 at worst. Seahawks at home. Seahawks have had their number, but we'll see. I need to put the numbers next to this. It's tough for me. The short answer is yes, I still think they can win 10 games and make the playoffs. Yes, I do.
I do as well, but I think they're in the murky middle of the NFC right now, where it's going to come down to a lot of tiebreakers. Like having that Commanders game in your back pocket, huge. You have the Rams and the Seahawks coming up down the line too. Absolutely. I think you have the Rams, right? You're playing the NFC West this year. I could be mistaken. But I mean, after
that's right. Because they've got the Seahawks, Rams, they've got all of those. Yep.
And you own the tiebreaker over the Vikings as well. So, I mean, I know that sucks. They lost the Bucs game earlier. What WTF was that Carolina game? That one might hurt too, coming back to take it. I mean, that's one of the ones, like we talked about it then. Week to week league, you flush that one. That's not a testament to what they are. That was just a game that snowballed, and but that game didn't happen. Here, look in the light, blip the Men in Black, that one. What Panthers? We didn't play at Carolina this year. That's weird.
I actually do that with a game that happened about 8-9 years ago. I don't. What are you talking about? 28. Yeah. What? That was how bad Bill Belichick was getting beat in the third quarter by Clemson. It was 28-3.
That stopped the game then.
That's what what are you talking about? I complete denial.
But right now, I think there are 10 teams in the AFC, 6 in that murky middle. And what you do in this next, I don't know if you can make the playoffs over the next 4 to 5 weeks, but you can be out of the playoffs, I think, in the next 4 to 5 weeks. So you do need to get 500 and keep yourself above water. And it looks pretty tough, but it is beatable teams as well. You know, Drake May does like to turn the ball over. We'll see about Daniel Jones if this can continue. And of course, this 49ers game could be huge too, Scott. You just got to keep stacking against these teams that you could be directly in line with. Another conference game as well. So I'm not ready. I know it's kind of a cop-out, like asking me yes or no to make the playoffs. Right now, I'd say no. Right now, I think I would say no. There's just a lot of teams that I think I trust a little bit more, their overall infrastructure. I'm not really buying Raheem Morris. I don't know what to make of Penix totally yet, but just keep stacking games, staying afloat, and we will see from there. But the next game, I mean, you win against Buffalo. Yeah, we can have a conversation. At 49ers, yes, but one at a time, you're alive. That's what happens.
7 years of missing the playoffs when you shouldn't have missed in all 7. That 2023 team was a mistake. That shouldn't have been a miss. Last year, 6-3, that shouldn't have been a miss. So saying I don't necessarily believe in the Falcons at 2-2, that's not a hot take. that's not necessarily a hot take. And there's a lot of belief. I'm going to come back to you. It's a good question on this one, Lil, too. You know, and there's some questions about Raheem. There are, and they're legitimate on there. So those aren't hot takes in here. Little Two says, good morning. Your thoughts on the Falcons always choosing to receive the ball? Wouldn't deferring help control momentum after halftime? Feels like we miss a chance to get ahead. This one, the Falcons are trying to establish an identity, really. And right now their identity is their defense. But they're really trying to establish, they've put so much. Raheem Morris staked his job last year on Michael Penix. Being good this year. Put his job on it. Terry Fontenot's job is on it too. They need to get him going. That's what they want to do. They want to get him going. And this is a way of saying, and frankly, from an analytics point of view, if I get the ball first and I control the ball, it means I can get an extra possession in the first half. And, you know, if you're flopping and if I get the ball first and I get the ball last, I get an extra possession in the first half. Now, there's always the switch thought of that is if the other team holds it, they get back-to-back possessions. So to me, which one is it that big a difference that I could be playing a possession ahead for the entire first half, or I get back-to-back possessions to end halftime and to start the third? I don't think it's as big a deal as some people make out to be. Oh, don't you want to always defer so you get the ball in the second half? I don't think it's as huge an analytical, statistical, even momentum-based issue as it's made out to be at times, because I can get an extra possession in the first half, which means if I score on both of them, well, hell, I score on both of them and get a stop. I'm up 2 scores going into halftime. That's pretty good for momentum too. Mm-hmm. So I think right now it's about they really want to get Michael Penix going. That's what I think.
I am a belief that if I'm a defensive first team, I defer, and if I'm an offensive first team, I receive, because I want to dictate with my strongest unit on the field first. So that's where I'm at. If I had a choice, I know the Falcons have exciting, fledgling, up and coming pass rushers, and you still have questions about Penix's term, but I think it is still an offensive first team, and it comes down to, as we've said 100 times, the offensive line and the run game. That should be as much as, I don't know if I got Arthur Smith pilled during those years. He had horrible quarterbacks and still kept them alive. God, tough task, impossible task. But I think that is the direction I would be going if I was in charge of the Falcons as well.
I would probably still defer. The other thing is, when you start questioning about Raheem Morris, his end of halves time management isn't great. Let's make sure you get the possession. I don't know how that works either. If I took it first or last, his end of half time management hasn't been good, relatively speaking. So it is tough on that one. Mike, good to see you. He's ready to see Chris Blair come up for Monday Night Football. And JB says, hey, we want to just put some points on the board. And I think it's good for momentum. How much different is that Panthers game if they don't miss the opening field goal? And they start 3-0. Mm-hmm. The game's probably totally different. Instead, the Falcons defense started slow in that game. Bryce goes right down and scores a touchdown after getting good field position on a long field goal. And then the team never really recovered on that one. Let's see. And Trent, Washington, the end of half was terrible. It should have been 47 seconds, not 20. Was it Matt Chernoff saying, why do they even bother with a play clock? Because neither one of these, Dan Quinn and Raheem Morris, neither of them look at it anyway. That was pretty funny, Matt. Matt's been in Atlanta a long time. He got here, I think, probably 30 years ago. So he's still the new guy to me. That was pretty funny, Matt. On that note, we're getting close to being just to calling this one a day. Let's see. I see Creedy. I want to say hello to Creedy too. But I want to hit one of our OGs. Falcons have let us down a long time for decades with a few seasons of hope and excitement before they Falcon and let us down and break our hearts. Yeah, you're cautiously optimistic on this, but if I had to bet right now, I'd say no, they'll miss the playoffs. I've got a lot of history that says I'm going to be right. But do I think they can make the playoffs? Absolutely. They've got the team to go out and go. They're 2-2 right now, so there's 14 games left. Win 9 of those, 9 and 5, the stretch, they could do that. They could absolutely do that. Will they? Yeah. Probably not. Can they win 8 of those? Yeah. And part of it is they've got to beat the teams that they need to beat. They lose to the Dolphins, and then beating the Bills doesn't matter. Yeah. You can lose to the Bills as long as you beat the Dolphins. Yeah. So you've got to beat those teams. You cannot lose the Panthers again. You've got to sweep the Saints. And it'd be nice to split like you usually do against the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Right now, the NFC is wide open. The AFC, Scott, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in the AFC with just one win. So top heavy, but the NFC, wide freaking open. 14 of the teams have at least 2 wins. So murky. I don't want to be too cliche, but really you just got to take care of business with what I put in front of you and keep stacking wins, not look too far ahead. We can as fans, as analysts, but the team themselves just take care of business and it'll sort itself out. But right now, pretty much everybody in the NFC is still in it besides the Saints and Giants, probably not the Panthers and Cardinals too, but we'll see. So just keep stacking games, and Bills are beatable. There's blood in the water. Something can happen there. So
yeah, I'm not worried so much about the Bills as I am the Falcons. Yeah. If the Falcons play to their ability, they'll make the playoffs. They have a playoff caliber roster. If they play to their ability, they're a playoff team. I don't know how they get to 10 wins, but they will. If they don't, and they play like they did, losing the Buccaneers game, could they have won that game? Yes. Is that a backbreaking loss that signifies doom and gloom? No, it happens. That's the league. You can't have Panthers games. You can't do those. Want to say hello to Creedy. This has been listening about 4 years now. That's awesome. He says, first time I'm making it live. Well, we appreciate you checking in. Thanks for the podcast. Well, thanks for being a member. We actually literally have memberships, but thanks for being a listener and a subscriber. If you're on Spotify or you're following on YouTube. So thank you for doing that. On all of those, all kinds. Too bad Coup turned into do. Yeah, it was an injury, and then it got in his head. And once it gets in your head, you got to change spots as a kicker. You can't afford to do that. Let's see. I think we're just about to get out of here. We'll finish up with Trenton here. Terry, and then Trenton. Terry says, good show, fellas. Thank you. Everyone stay blessed. Right back at you. Let's see. And I want to hit ECU Falcon, one of our longtime watchers. Hey, guys. Hey, right back at you. Catching the end of your show, but hope the Falcons come out against the Bills with a solid game plan and execute it to perfection. No dominant teams this year, in my opinion. Go Falcons. I think it's all about, for me, limiting the running game. What beat the Falcons for the Buccaneers was 5 rushes for 5 first downs by Baker Mayfield. That was the big difference in the game for me across 60 minutes. Josh Allen will do that to you all frickin' day. You think you got him beat, and here, got 3rd and 7. I got everybody covered. Here's some pressure. Oh, Josh Allen just scrambled for a first down. Son of a. That's got to stop. And then, again, just efficient, take care of your chances, use your playmakers. Darnell Mooney should be much healthier. That'll help. Hopefully get A.J. Terrell back. But should have a full list of players on offense ready to go and a week to prepare. On that note, I think that's about – I wanted to hit Trenton here real quick. Trenton, thanks for being a member, my friend. He says, good point about Blair, Washington, and Sills haven't done anything. Give Blair – good point about Blair. Washington and Sills haven't done anything. Give Blair and Drummond a run. Even Agnew can probably do a little more. If the Falcons are playing the way they should play, those guys really don't matter. I mean, they're option 5 and 6. You know, they are. It'd be nice if they can, but it's Bijan, it's Drake, it's Kyle right now. I'm okay with that. If those guys get 80% of your yards, that's a good thing, Nick.
It comes down to special teams and blocking for those kind of guys. I hate to be it, but do you have a bouncer mentality? You know, escort that guy out of the club when you're talking that far down the line, because Drake London obviously needs to have a massive percentage of the target share. Pitts probably is one we saw it kind of finally come to fruition in that last win you had where all those top 3 guys were doing it. And then Mooney as well, if he's healthy. So if Mooney's hurt, then we can have a conversation. Mm-hmm. But as it stands, you're talking 2 to 4 targets max for these guys. What matters more is their special teams.
Wide receiver 2 is Kyle Pitts. Yep. Wide receiver 1, and even Mooney coming back in. I don't want him. I don't want to try and force feed Mooney. Kyle Pitts is playing well. It needs to go Drake, Bijan, Pitts, Algier, and then let's see. And then Mooney helps keep him honest. Maybe get a big play in every once in a while. There's not a lack of weapons. The Falcons aren't struggling because Chris Blair hasn't done anything, because David Sills hasn't done anything. That's not the reason they're not scoring touchdowns. So one last thing from JB. Put Walker in as a spy. That's not the worst idea, but Caden Ellis can do that. So can Divine Diablo. You know, those are also really good ways to do that. With the speed at linebacker now makes a difference. It really does make a difference. It's the biggest upgrade this team made in the offseason. On that note, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I want to say thank you to our Super Chat superstars, Curtis, Denver Luke, Mike Harvey coming in a couple times, and Trenton. I want to say thank you to the members. John, shoot me an email. If you're watching after the fact, I didn't see you in the chat today. Shoot me an email after the fact, and we'll get you some coffee. And if you don't like vanilla macadamia, give it away. Someone will love you for it. We're going to get out of here. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Monday. Garrett will be here Tuesday night. We will be back on Wednesday. So we will see you then. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Peace.